Greetings, this is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight, and today's video is kind of a strange one because my topic is Tesla a good idea for you to consider as your car, or should you test it and then get away from it rather than just having a really bad experience? Bonjour, wie geht's? Verstehst noch immer Autobahn in Straße? Ni hao ma. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. The focus of my talk today comes from an incident I had with a viewer who reviewed the fact that he liked to drive his cars in Germany. I think it's a Model X, but it may be an S. He was explaining that he did not like his Tesla because he was going at its maximum speed, I believe 130 miles an hour, and after a certain period of time, the car actually started shutting him down, and it sort of went into a very low power mode. So he was saying that he felt like this was a really bad situation, given that even an old VW could go on the German autobahn and operate at very high speeds, and it wasn't a big deal. So I thought this was a fascinating situation because I went to an elite university, Stanford University, and over the years I've been mentoring students, and I was really shocked to see that about a third of the students arrived on campus and had no idea what they wanted to study, but they knew it was a good school and they wanted to be there, but hadn't prepared for the environment, so they were just sitting there wasting time and money when somebody else might be able to use the space in a better manner. So I actually recommended that they actually transfer or take time off to figure out what they wanted to do and then come back and be able to make the most of the experience rather than wasting their money or their parents' money or inheritance or whatever. And that sort of brings me over to my Tesla discussion, because before you buy or think about buying, even if it's a Model 3, I would encourage you to try to have at least 4, if not 5, sort of test drive or rental circumstances with the car. In Europe, particularly I'm thinking of Amsterdam, you guys have a great situation because you actually have cabs there that are Teslas. So I would count maybe sitting in the front seat and letting the cab driver tell you about their experience to be a really good way to sort of have a good understanding of what the vehicle is about. That way, once you've done your purchase, you're not getting these surprises that make life miserable. So in the case of the individual I told you about, the problem he ran into is that all it is movement of electrons. You're putting electrons on a battery. Those electrons are being used to power a car. So if those electrons are moving very slowly from battery to power, the car operates fine. So if you're sub 100 in that 50 to 60 mile range, overheating and other issues like that won't be an issue. The challenge, though, is if you go into ludicrous or other modes or push the car at its limit, the electrons are moving very fast from the battery into the engine. And so the vehicle will basically go into a mode where it'll move those electrons for you fast so you can enjoy that speed. But in essence, it has to cool itself down. And what that means then is exactly what this gentleman articulated, is that you'll go into a mode where the car will actually basically shut itself down until it can cool the batteries off so that it doesn't damage itself. So hence what you'll notice is that in ludicrous mode, part of what the warning there is that you have to be careful because you potentially are going to damage your battery, i.e. damage the cells so they can't charge again by using ludicrous mode, because you're drawing the electrons out at a very high rate of speed. It generates a lot of heat, and that heat can actually damage the battery. So I'm encouraging folks to consider perhaps a 5-time test before they get into the Tesla game, because when it comes to an ICE engine, if a part breaks or overheats, you just rip it out and toss a new one in. With the battery and the effect on the drivetrain, etc., you don't have that many moving parts, but it requires you to manage the vehicle in a way you do not have to do with ICE engines to get the benefits out of it. This is a sidebar note that I was kind of shocked by, that I was trying to slip in there relative to Tesla ownership, be it US, but primarily Europe and other places where fuel prices are high. I just had a good friend of mine who returned from Europe, and he was saying that the cost can be tough in Bulgaria because at 8 miles a gallon to fill up a tank can be $160. So people tend to walk and use public transport or bike because that cost is so high. And if you're on a free supercharger, I think the value proposition, particularly of the Model 3 in Europe, is significant. To be able to move around for free versus having to pay huge fuel costs that are primarily large amount of taxes on those. I would think that after a huge number of EVs are out there, they're going to start charging, sort of find a way to slap charges on the EVs as well. But for now, the value proposition is awesome for people in a European situation with an average price of $8 or $9 a gallon to be able to drop down to an EV where it's $1 a gallon in essence is a huge savings. So I can see why there's such strong interest in the European ownerships and willingness to buy. So finishing up, I just wanted to say, this is Greg again for Tesla Fan Insight. I really think that you don't want to be surprised after paying a lot of money to grab this vehicle. Having a few encounters with the car and understanding some of the challenges of ownership are a big deal in terms of having a great experience. Look forward to comments. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Tschüss, macht's gut. Au revoir, à tout à l'heure. Please like and subscribe. Look forward to your comments so we can have some responses that are reflective. Thank you and have a great day.